Hello and welcome to a special edition of the Blue Monday podcast with Francine from Rainbow Tractors here to explain to us the relaunch of the group, what it's about, and how folk can get involved. Francine, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. And thank you for having me on.
Pleasure. I was going to ask you about Fleetwood, and I'm wondering whether we should just skip straight.
Yeah, it was a bit rubbish, wasn't it? So just move on.
We'll skip to other things. So Rainbow Tractors relaunched last weekend.
Yes.
And relaunched. It was around a few years ago, wasn't it? And it's been kicked off again.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
Well, the group was originally started back in 2014. And the person who originally started it and always wanted to kind of hand it over. And then for a number of reasons, it just never, after the original momentum, just kind of died off a bit.
Is that something to do with how the club was doing as well? I guess partly there is
probably partly to do with that, yeah. And I think lack of social media, good social media presence, like regular social media presence. People kind of just forget it was there. I forgot it was there properly myself. Tried a relaunch again at Pride a couple of years ago, but again, just never really got anywhere. So we've changed leadership, and we're going to try again.
So who's the equivalent of Paul Cook and who's the equivalent of Paul Lambert, or do I dare not ask questions?
Well, I hope I'm Paul Cook.
Okay, we'll go with that. So we've got Paul Cook right here, and yeah, if you need a cup of tea, just shout. We can take a break.
A cup of tea.
Have you? Good.
Actually. And it is Yorkshire tea.
Excellent, perfect. Ticking all the boxes. I love this. Good. So yeah, so restarted and with a specific agenda in mind, or just
we've got our three key aims, which are to work with the club to raise more awareness. So that's particularly around things like football versus homophobia events in LGBT History Month and Rainbow Laces. Those key things to make, to work with the club to make sure we get a really good, social media side of it, so that because they'll limit themselves that they have done that they've not done enough, not necessarily or known how to do enough. Particularly when you compare to other clubs, Charlton, Norwich.
I was going to ask, is there a model there that
Well, I'm in contact with the person who runs Leicester's one, and loads of these clubs, the fan groups communicate with each other anyway. So I will. Charlton have been on Football Focus recently. Hate to say it, so have Norwich. Yeah, they've got quite a good supporters group. So we want to have our, Ipswich promoting things and explaining things as well as other clubs. We also want to raise awareness to other fans of the issues that we face, as an LGBT supporter in going to games, but also that potential players might face.
Yep.
And create safe social spaces, which kind of brings those two together, really. But we don't want we're not excluding anyone. Allies are very much supported, and there are several members of the original 5 who've been involved in the relaunch who are allies and are very keen to support us in making Portman Road a safe place and somewhere comfortable for everyone.
So is I guess from a largely lay perspective on this, it feels like there's an educational role and using the club's social media, I guess, platforms like this. And I know have you been on Kings of Anglia as well? And I still the PWTD stuff.
My dad has been on Kings of Anglia.
And that's presumably because I guess a lot of people, and to put it bluntly, will have seen the announcement and have gone brilliant. But it's nothing to do with me, I guess. And
we've had such a positive reaction to it. Loads of people. My phone last Sunday, I've never felt so popular in my life. As soon as the tweet went out, and I because I timed it so my tweets and posts on Instagram all went out at the same time as the clubs. I was actually on a Mother's Day walk at Mersey while I was doing it. I was on my phone walking on the beach.
Don't mind me, Mum. I'm just liking and retweeting lots.
And the amount of I had my phone on silent and everything because my phone was just follow.
That's brilliant. That's great.
It was amazing.
You figured out the Twitter notifications now, though, yeah?
Pardon?
As in, you'd figured out the Twitter notifications now, though, so you can just you figured out how to disable those.
Away.
Yes.
But yeah, it was really positive reaction, and it seemed like we're going to gain some momentum from it, which is good. And hopefully that will continue on with our social events and into next season when we can actually do more in person.
Yes, in person, exactly right. I was going to say the one sort of real noticeable thing that is starting is these midday Zoom calls, pre-match Zoom calls, are they, or every Saturday?
Pre-match, they are every Saturday. We've not decided yet what will happen when it's not the season. I imagine we'll try and keep some sort of regular social going, but they are pre-match ones at the moment. When it's a normal kickoff at 3, we do it at 12. We've moved it forward this week to 11.
Helpful.
So it's still before the game. We have had someone new every week so far, which is really good. And we hope to continue that, get many people involved, because and the point of the meeting, the socials, talk about the game, talk about general stuff, but also, I want people's ideas, like my dad said on the Kings of Anglia interview he did with Ross, is that he has his ideas, I have my ideas, other people have their ideas. We don't want it to be just 3 of us saying like, this is what we'll do. We want to hear what fans want us to do socially and help what they think the club could do and work really as a group, so it's not a one-person agenda.
And this is the kind of thing where allies, as you said, is useful, because there's no kind of a good idea is a good idea regardless who it comes from, isn't it?
And when we came up with our 3 aims, it was actually it was an ally who'd put them all in sentences, and he sent them out to us and was like, what do you think? From hearing our discussions, he'd managed to put things together. And even just the social side of it, it doesn't matter, what your identity is, what your sexuality is, as long, we want to all come together, because that's what we want ultimately. We don't want to have a separate group where we have to educate the club and to do stuff to help fans feel comfortable and safe. But so if we work with allies and everyone, then that will be a point when we're not needed.
Yeah, and I think it's part of it is prompting a discussion as well. And there's always the debate is always, particularly in the internet era, is going to have tangent off into issues and problems. And to be honest, it feels to me that we want a club where everyone feels like they can turn up and watch the match and not have to worry about prejudice or hearing things that are just deliberately offensive, which presumably is core to exactly why the group is here. And it shouldn't be any different to any other group that's looking to watch football, right?
Yeah, it should. We also want all anyone wants is for everyone to go along, watch the football, hopefully enjoy it. I hope
you can't control that bit, you see.
No, we can't control that bit. That's down to, can't do that in the stands, unfortunately. But with people, without having to any worries in the back of your head, because, and whether that's a worry about going with a partner, how do I act around them, which is a worry I've had in the past, or a worry of what do I wear? Do I wear that slightly colourful jacket, or do I tone myself down? We don't want that. We want everyone to feel they can be themselves and not hear any comments, even if they're not directed at you, because that's been the thing. The comments that have been heard by members have been directed towards the pitch. And between us, we don't think the majority of Ipswich fans are homophobic or anything like that. We at all. We don't want anyone to think that, but things are said, and
it's a subconscious
even if
thing,
it's
isn't
not
it? Though,
meant in that way, the word itself is a slur potentially, and could affect the enjoyment of the football for those around them.
Sure. And I guess you've alluded to. I hate that. There's I'll say Norwich, Charlton are kind of up there as a benchmark. What more do There's a need for the supporter base to be educated and to understand that, and obviously there's a role for the group there in terms of lobbying the club. What's the thoughts on what they need to do more? You've mentioned social media, but it feels like it's quite spiky.
Yeah, we're working together. I've had we had a meeting with the club just before the relaunch last Thursday. It was about what we can do going forward, and it is about how we address things like Football vs Homophobia Month events, which was we did a one-off match, and for a week before we changed the badge. Other clubs, they got involved in Football Focus. They did interviews with fans. The players got involved, which obviously is harder at the moment, and stuff. But at Charlton, I saw one of the groups at Charlton. They posted up that when Lee Bowyer left, that he'd been, actively talking to the group himself. So, not necessarily that Paul Cook has to do that or anything, but that engagement with the club, where it's we are one together. The club are going to be looking at what they can do around the ground itself. Because so at the moment you've had, like, if you look at Man City and Burnley on TV, they've got the flag to show their support for their LGBTQ supporters group, and the club are on board with doing something like that with us, even when fans are in the ground having something there. That all fans can see, and that TV cameras would see as well.
Yeah, because I was going to say, to me, the word I was using was spiky. The output on social media is there is a Football League initiative or a wider society initiative, and we should get involved, and we'll do it for that week, and then it's kind of forgotten about and then comes back. So I guess what you're advocating for is a presence, or is some kind of identity that shows that it's a 365-day thing, right?
Because we don't want it to be forgotten about. It's like with anything, you want it to be talked about, not necessarily all the time, but we want the awareness to be a constant thing, rather than just let's bring it up twice a year, Rainbow Laces and LGBT History Month, just those two events.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and I guess so. I guess the question a lot of folk will be asking, myself included, is what can we do apart from just supporting and providing, stuff down the pod feed, which is great and nice and easy for all Ipswich fans. I guess the word ally keeps coming up. Is that what you're after, and what does that look like? I guess there will be folk who think, well, I can't do the Zoom calls, but what else can I do? What would you suggest? How do they get in contact, maybe, and get involved?
So they can send a message on any of our social medias. So we've got Instagram and Twitter. We have got an email as well, so they can send me an email, which is on the press release that we put out, and just send ideas of what they think the club could do. If there are instances when we're in the ground that they hear, to find, obviously the club are going to make it easier to know who to report it to, but do report it, not necessarily call people out, because I think that would cause
it's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah, because I don't necessarily think the people using those slurs are all necessarily doing it in a homophobic way. I just think that they're not necessarily. It's the heat of the moment, isn't it? We all
Yeah.
We all use language at the football that we wouldn't necessarily walk down the street and use. So
yeah, I don't use the phrase "get in the mixer" too often in normal life, and but no, sorry, I get exactly where you're coming from. Yeah,
there's language that I use in the football that doesn't necessarily mean I use it on a daily basis. Because you get angry, and you want to give the opposition a bit of stick and the ref a bit of stick, but it's about knowing what language to use, and that will only come through the club knowing what language is being used. I'm wanting next season to do, if everyone else is up for it, some sort of prediction league.
Okay.
Which is anyone they can get involved in. I've not obviously worked out the finer details of how that would work.
Just got to keep an eye on the social media. I'll put it up here. And there you go.
Yeah.
At Rainbow Tractors. Is that the same on Twitter and Insta? You were saying?
Yes. Yep. Same on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah. Being a teacher, then I've suddenly gone from having to make weekly videos for every lesson to being able to just teach live in the classroom. So my workload has decreased. So I've had a lot more time to think about potential socials next season, and a prediction league was one because that covers everyone. It covers people who can make allies or LGBTQ people, but it also covers local fans and distant fans.
Yeah.
And I don't want any fan to feel excluded because of where they live, particularly. Because I'm hoping to do in-person socials next.
I was going to say, any thoughts of getting in the fan zone or anything like that?
Yeah, we're definitely looking at fun getting in the fan zone, and again, that's something the club are looking at, some sort of presence in the fan zone for us. So typically, me and my dad don't often go to the fan zone. We go to Thomas Wolsey pre and post match normally, but we could do socials in the fan zone. But we're looking at new number of things, but we do definitely want in-person events next season. Maybe as soon as it's allowed, potentially, if but we'll see obviously what the rules and everything are going into the new season. And
I was going to say that even the Zoom calls at the moment, I know that people have got their eye on May and lockdown easing and all that kind of stuff, but ultimately my sense of the group is clearly there's a core message there, but it's centered around football, which everyone who loves Ipswich Town can gravitate towards. So a prediction league, or even discussing Paul Cook's selections and who you would have played in goal or who you would have played at left back, that's the universal conversation, isn't it? And as long as the conversation is respectful and is open, that's all I guess the group's after, isn't it?
So as many people as possible to turn it up, and so as long as the conversation is kept respectful, we'll talk about football, we may deviate into other things, particularly if there's only three of us. But no, as long as everyone's respectful, then we're happy for and welcome to everyone to come along and talk about what we all love, which is Ipswich Town, and hopefully a playoff push this season.
I was going to ask, so you hinted at a prediction league there, so I'm going to put you on the spot and ask for a Portsmouth prediction before we go. So I'll let you mull that one over.
If they don't employ a new manager,
I think it's Cowley.
I don't know if he's been announced.
Yeah, I think it's the bookies have stopped. I think it's almost like the Paul Cook one. We all know it's going to happen, and it's Danny Cowley. So assume it's Cowley.
Training sessions he gets in before then, but if he's not in properly before then I think we're so inconsistent. It's our time to be consistent. Good at the weekend, isn't it? So I think we'll probably, and they've got lots of injuries. I've seen Harrison's now out as well. So I think we'll win. I think it'll be a nervy one, but I think we'll win.
Okay, it'll be like Plymouth will score early and then have to hold on for 80 minutes. Okay, okay, good stuff. Any last things that you want to plug? Obviously, we talked about. I'll stick the handle up there. Or any messages that I'm really I want to avoid the kind of, I know that the news story always attracts the usual nonsense comments and false equivalence kind of debates, so we won't go there. But in terms of the wider Ipswich community, any kind of final thoughts or requests or
I want to first say thank you to them all for their, all the support, and everyone loves our badge, which is great. We put a lot of thought into that. And
was that a local artist who did that?
Yes, I can't remember her name, George or something.
Let me see if I've got the.
I think it might be.
Georgia Goddard.
She designed it for Pride 2 years ago, and we've contacted her, and she was happy for it to be used again. So we've used her design of the Suffolk Punch to mix in with the traditional badge. But a massive thank you to all the support, and please do get involved. Lots of people follow me quite a few people who maybe watch this probably follow me on my personal Twitter as well, so you can.
Do you want to plug that as well?
You can do. It's Francine. It's Francine ITFC. So you can follow me, and if you've got anything you want to tell me, ideas there, then I'm happy to hear them there as well. But yeah, any ideas? And it'd be good to see people at our Zoom social at 11:30 this Saturday.
Brilliant stuff. At Rainbow Tractors, Francine, thank you so much for coming on and explaining it. And keep a lookout. Give the folks all the support you can, and certainly looking forward to Prediction League is going to happen. I'm awesome at Prediction Leagues. He says I'm rubbish. I think I'm good. But really looking forward to that.
Myself, so.
Yeah, you could run it. That's how you do it. You run a Prediction League. Is how you fix it to win. So keep that one under your sleeve there. Francine, great to chat to you, and all the best to the group. And
and again,
thanks very much.